when I got out of high school. What am I going to do with my life? And every time I thought about doing something, I recall saying, I can't do that. There's no way I'm going to do that. I won't be able to do that. And the biggest turning point for me was my brother Michael, who was the biggest inspiration in my life. He was 100% disabled as a result of the Vietnam War, a gung ho Marine. And he's the only man in medical history that ever survived the wound that he endured. And I don't have time to get into that, but he's the reason why I just excelled in life. And he defied the odds. Like I said, the only man in medical history that ever survived that wound in 7 months in the St. Albans Naval Hospital. And he went from 168 pounds to 98 pounds and finally made it to 110. He got out and he said he was going to go to college, and we didn't think he'd be able to do it, but he did. And 2 years as he's going to college, one day he came up to me because he noticed I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. He said, "Hey, Steve, can you do me a favor?" I said, "What?" He said, "Can you come? Why don't you go to school with me? Go to college?" I said, "What for?" Because I don't know. Sometimes I think I'd like company, and plus, I don't know. I think you might enjoy it. I figured, okay, what the heck? I'll do that. It wasn't working. I couldn't get a job, so I went with him. And one day we're walking to the administrative office. I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "We're going to the administrative office." I said, "You're going to sign up for next semester?" He said, "Nope, I'm signing you up for next semester." And Rob, I was petrified, and I got really emotional. Picture this: I'm in the middle. It's near spring, and there's people, hundreds of people walking all around us. And I said, "I can't do that. I'm not going in there. I'm not smart enough. What's the matter with you?" And he grabs me. Here's this frail man, this Marine, grabbing me by my shirt, and he's yelling at me in front of everyone. He says, "Look at me. Look at me. I'm doing this. If I can do this, I know you can do it, and you're doing it." And I didn't argue with him. He signed me up for 4 classes. I remember it: English, history, music, and art. He said, "It's 12 credits. You can do this." I went. I was petrified. After a couple of weeks, I was like, well, and I was like 5 years older than a lot of the people that were in the classes. So I knew a little bit more about life than they did. And I experienced a lot in those 5 years. And I started getting involved in the discussions, and I started to get to know my professors, and they started giving me these compliments. And you have a lot of insight in life and shit I never even knew about myself. And to make a very long story short, I graduated with high honors in degrees in English, education, minor in psychology, master's in theater arts.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then I went back to the same school that I graduated from, and I became an English teacher and a counselor for kids with behavioral problems, proving once and for all that guidance counselors are not fortune tellers.